Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new here, my name is D DIY Monster, and on today's video guys, I am going to show you tips on how to pick and decorate an accent wall in your room. Alright, so about 2 months ago guys, I moved into a new apartment, which I absolutely love. I have so much more space. It was a complete blank canvas, so it really allowed me to really come in and put my touches onto it. You guys have seen me decorate my bathroom, you have seen me transform my dining room from fall back to regular as well. So today I'm actually finally moving into the living room. First of all guys, for those of you who do not know what an accent wall is, do you know what an accent wall is? Well, let me tell you, because I'm going to tell you. One wall within your space that you design to either do maybe like a pop color or, you know, my personal favorite, removable wallpaper guys, which I will be using in this actual video, so spoiler alert. You know, so anywho, you pick one wall out of the space and you decide to do one pop color wallpaper to really make it stand out from the rest of the room. And I think one key rule when deciding whatever wall you choose to be your accent wall or your feature wall is going to be, it needs to be a wall that when you walk into the space, you have a clear, direct line of sight to it. So when I walked into the living room, there's 3 walls. You have 2 walls on the side, you have 1 wall directly in the middle. So for me, it was a no-brainer that that wall would actually become my focal wall, my feature wall, my accent wall. That's the wall that I wanted to be that focal point, because when you come in, your eye is naturally drawn to the center of the room. So it just absolutely made sense. So now you guys are probably wondering, what the heck is a virtual makeover? So a virtual makeover is pretty much a non-contact way of working with a client in order to help them redecorate their space. So my thought process is, with all of this change, you have to be able to navigate through it. So again, I thought it would be a really good idea to go ahead, I'm about to cough. I do not have COVID, I don't think. Anyway, it would be really cool to go ahead and do a video of how, you know, as an interior decorator, how would it actually look like? How would this look like during this time of how to actually create or help someone, assist someone in creating a accent wall in their space, or designing any type of room in their space. Would love to hear from you guys if you would actually be interested in a virtual makeover of your space. And for me, what I'm doing for my virtual makeover, if I was to have a client that, for example, I'm using myself in this situation, but you know, if I was actually assisting a client with a virtual makeover, it would consist of an actual phone conversation or a FaceTime consultation, just to go ahead and start gathering the ideas and start, you know, developing that inspiration and the really understanding what the client is looking for. Secondly, it would also involve me creating a mood board. And it's all we already know. If you looked at the bathroom episode that I did, Makeover, you know that that's pretty much just a way that you can really organize your thoughts and your ideas into some type of format that will then help you to really decide of what direction to take with your room. It pretty much serves as inspiration. I'd also like to do a floor plan, which I think is very helpful, especially if you are not someone who works in, if you're not into like whole interior designing and space planning, then you may not quite understand of like the flow of things in the space. So I think it's very important to maybe even create a floor plan for a client, so you can kind of lay out and map out for them how that space would flow from the living room sitting area, as well as creating a feature wall, as well as an entertainment wall, as well as what you are actually going to see here as well. And then also creating from a picture that they would send, create a mock-up of a real like 3D mock-up of their wall or their space, of how it would actually look at the end of the process once everything is said and done. Just that way it acts as a guide for them to be able to actually execute it themselves. Alright guys, so now it's time for this virtual makeover, and I'm going to need you to use a little bit of your imagination, because in this situation, for this consultation, I am the client. After a pleasant conversation with my client, Mr. Hayes, via phone, I was able to put together a couple of different ideas for his space for this accent wall. After putting together the mood board for my client to present to him virtually, I decided to go ahead and do a floor plan. So in this floor plan, I really want to lay out and map out this space, especially since it's a smaller space, just to give the client an idea of how the flow of the space would go. After having another conversation with my client and getting the green light, I asked the client to send me over a picture of their space. The client also agreed that utilizing the middle wall would make the best choice for this space, given that it is in direct line of sight from the entryway and will make the greatest impact. Now that a decision has been made on the accent wall, it is time to start working on the mock-up. For this accent wall, given that Mr. Hayes is a renter, I decided to provide him with 3 different choices for wallpaper. He decided to go with the first one. Now that Mr. Hayes has selected the wallpaper he likes, I can go ahead and really start mocking up that wall, accent wall. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my mood board and really just start drawing pieces from that inspiration. First up, I added a little mid-century modern piece for extra seating. Added some artwork based off of the color palette. And then I'm actually going to bring in a plant. You know, it's nice to incorporate some type of life into the room as well. And, you know, add a couple of throw pillows. Again, drawing colors from the actual artwork. And a side table just for some extra places to store things. And I'm going to pop in a lamp as well. Now that that's complete, it's time to go ahead and send it over to the client so he can start executing that himself. But of course, if the client needs help, I would be there via phone to assist. Alright guys, and so Mr. Hayes is now ready to go ahead and start installing the wallpaper. I asked him to go ahead and, based off the measurements of his wall, to order 4 rolls so he can do this installation. And of course, if he needs any help, I've asked him to please feel free to reach out and give me a call. And I'm going to actually do a little walkthrough with him after he's finished with actually putting up the wallpaper. And for anyone who's watching, if you are interested in this wallpaper, if you do like it, I did get this from Amazon for like $12 a roll for the client. Now that the wallpaper has been installed, it's time to start bringing those additional items to start bringing this accent wall to life. The first items that are going to be brought in are these canvas arts that were sourced from City Furniture. They bring in a nice bold color that really pops against that black and white foundation that the wallpaper brings in. The client stated that he was really inspired by boutique hotels and really wanted to infuse that type of design aesthetic, that type of decor into his own space. So bringing in those artsy elements as well as the whole eclectic feel of boutique hotels was really important for this space. Alright guys, now it's time for some DIY time. To create some additional seating in the space as well as save the client some money, we're actually going to turn this piece that the client found at a thrift store for $10 into an actual seating bench. For this DIY project, the only thing that's needed is a pack of brackets, which was roughly $5 from Home Depot, as well as each leg costs roughly about $5. So you need 4 of those. So now this is a really super easy DIY project, guys, that you can do at your home yourself. So the client is simply going to put a bracket into each single corner of the piece, and then the legs simply get screwed into them. Very easy. And for only roughly $35, the client now has his own, you know, somewhat mid-century modern inspired piece. They cost a heck of a lot cheaper than if you were to go finding it even from a thrift store or buying it at a secondhand shop as well. Now that the legs have been screwed on, it's now time to go ahead and pull this piece right into its place. And guys, at a later time, this piece will be repainted or refinished in order to give it a, a more polished look. And guys, as a reminder, you already know that on this channel, I'm all about giving you guys those tips that are both budget and renter friendly. Alright guys, so this side table is actually off of a site called OfferUp, which is pretty much an online thrift store. This is a great way to bring in pieces without having to spend a lot of money. It's an IKEA brand table. Roughly, it costs brand new around $30. It's adjustable, but only got it for roughly $10 from the seller. And guys, I would just like to add in that with a mood board is truly inspiration. So as you can see, some of these pieces, they differ, but they kind of still give an idea as to where things can be placed, what colors to utilize, and give you different ideas of how you can still bring in similar pieces, it may be at a fraction of the cost, or just DIY them yourself. Alright guys, so now that the table's in place, now it's time to go ahead and add another additional source of light in the room. It's always good to have multiple sources of lighting in your space. There is recessed lighting, but you don't always want to utilize those lights. This is too bright. So this gives you a way to create that ambiance within a room, create that mood lighting. Alright guys, so now just to add a little extra to this table and just create some different levels of elevation, we're going to bring in a couple of books and just going to stack them on top of one another. These books came from the dollar store as well as the thrift store, so they're no more than $1 each, but it just gives a way to create different levels of visual interest on this little table and we're just going to continue to add to that. Now I'm going to have the client bring in a decorative box, and this box can be used for storage as well as adds to the visual presentation of this table. So now I'm going to have the client bring in some throw pillows just to add in some more visual interest, as well as just kind of soften up this bench. And like I said before, at a later date and later time, this bench will go through another DIY process, will be painted or something like that. And another thing that can be done for this seating is actually adding a seat cushion to it. Alright, so there's just one more thing to do to go ahead and finish off this accent wall, and that's bringing in a plant. A plant adds that extra life into the space. Just bringing in some of that greenery really helps to bring the space to life. So that wraps up another DIY video with your boy D Hayes, the DIY Monster. And I will catch you guys next Saturday. Before you get out of here, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. Join the DIY Monster family. Like this video, as well as turn on that bell notification so that anytime I upload a video, guys, you're always in the know. And I will catch you guys next Saturday for another budget and renter-friendly DIY video. Come see the rest of this living room unfold. I will catch you later. Peace.